Welcome to Red Carpet of Hollywood. I'm your host, Marina Kufa. I'm welcoming a very special guest today, Ricardo Herranz, main character from Sangre Negra. Thank you so much for joining me today for the second time.
My pleasure, Marina. Absolutely. It's going to be even better now.
How do you like my poster?
I love it. You see, that's what I call class decoration.
Right? I have a black today. Okay.
Perfect,
so I can match the poster.
You blend it beautifully with the whole scenario.
Thank you. Ricardo, we want to talk about Sangre Negra. You play attorney. You are one of the main
Guillermo
characters.
Santos Jr.
How did you started with Sangre Negra? How did you guys get together and decide, oh yeah, this is what we're going to do?
Well, Sangre Negra is pretty much almost, I would call it a labor of love, a labor of collaboration among friends. Because for many years, Frank Pinnock, who is the director, and Tony McKay, who is the writer and one of the main lead super characters, we've been friends for many years, and we've always talked about the possibility and the desire of doing something together, some type of professional collaboration.
So how did you guys develop a friendship? Did you work on the different movies together, or is it what's the past? How do you guys know each other?
Well, we all met while I was living in the Madison. The Madison is one of the high-rise buildings in Hollywood, and I lived there for several years. And the manager of the building is Bert Hickson, or was Bert Hickson, and he was also very close friend with me and with them. So Frank and Tony were working on a project called Forbidden, which is a movie that Tony was writing and Frank was going to direct.
Okay.
And they were pretty much working in their office, brainstorming, doing certain things for the production. And we happened to meet there, and, we talked about what they were doing, we got all excited about all these possibilities. And
so you guys clicked right there, right? That's what
exactly, because we had the same desire. We were in the same field with the same desire to do something, to create something, to actually, do something different in the show business. And Frank and Tony were actually taking the step by doing that, or trying to create that movie called Forbidden. That was how we met. So that was a long time ago. That was, many years ago. And then after that, we also kept going with the idea, what do we have? What do we have? Because we wanted to do actually something for TV, or something that perhaps would not be TV, because now with the new media, you could actually have web episodes. And that's where we were going to go, to create a content that was able to be divided in smaller episodes, 6, 7, maximum 10 minutes, in order to be able to easily produce him and easily, create and package the whole thing. So one day, I'm at my house working on something, and I get a call from Frank and Tony. And they're saying, you know what, we're here at the Coffee Bean. We're thinking of this idea, and I think it would be very interesting if you hear it. Can we just swing by, tell you what the whole thing is about, and, you tell us what you think. And it's not going to be long. It's going to be just 30 minutes or so. I'm like, fine, sure, come over. So they came over. We started brainstorming. The whole thing got excited. The 30 minutes turned out to be 5 or 6 hours. And we started brainstorming about the main characters, different characters, even incorporating details of my family, my family's names into the characters and into the show.
Amazing.
Make it really personal, you know. So right there it was created. Frank and Tony brought the seed to my house, and the seed was watered there, and everything started growing. And
So you
that's
guys
how it
end up
started.
having the same vision. Like you guys met and that was it. Like the the train took off right there.
That's it, because we had known each other for years and talked
Yeah.
about different things that we want. And it's always so frustrating for you to have the desire to create some good quality, some artistic representation for many demographics,
Yeah.
shows that actually are different than what you have on
Mhm.
TV, you know, and yet you never get to see something like that. So, you know, why keep being frustrated when you can actually create something
Right.
based on what you can do, our experience, our level of professionalism, and our creativity. And that's where exactly the whole thing started with Sangre Negra.
Get yourself all you want with that puta. But not in this house, not in our home, man, and not in our parents' bedroom.
I'm sorry, counselor. Well, I thought that's what that bedroom was for. Putas, whores. That's what your mother called mine, huh?
Ricky, I know it's been rough for you, but never forget you will always be my brother.
And Christian, he thinks I should have been aborted.
You guys are like dogs and cats. I don't even
Yeah, but you know what? You should thank me.
How so?
Because if it wasn't for me, you would never have Francesca.
So how did you guys took it to the next level? Because it starts with the idea. And okay, what's the next step? That's the
The next
hardest
step-
part, isn't it, right?
Oh yes, absolutely. Because
Mhm.
first you brainstorm about the actual core of the creation of the plot. You know, the main, what's called the main skeleton. You know,
Yeah.
from which you're gonna have like the main, you know, half a dozen characters from which and other characters will basically sprout. And that's the first thing, the artistic side of it. And then obviously, inevitably, you gotta go to the business side of it. So obviously, since we're going for an independent business approach, we didn't want to go to a major studio. We didn't,
So you apply a lot of changes.
and it's not just about the money, because it's about the money coming from studios, the money coming from networks, the money coming from scenarios that are used to control productions. Because sometimes the money comes from different sources, and even though it may come from bigger bulks, they're not really interested in exerting control over the production. They're interested in just
I see,
collaborating
yes.
with the creation of the production and profit from it eventually, of course. So having said that, we went for the easier possible route as far as obtaining money, which was to create a web series. That is one of the easiest ways, because our short episodes of 7 to 10 minutes, so you can actually control a much smaller budget.
Oh,
And it's actually a lot easier to do. But here is a problem. When we came up with the first, you know, episode or first few scenes, because you cannot even say episode, because they were web episodes. It was different than what a whole 42-minute episode would be. The idea, you know, we showed the idea to several people, and guess what? People were willing to give the money, but they didn't want to give the money for us to create a web series. They liked it so much that they wanted this to be a 1-hour show. Because you have an excellent idea that will be completely, you know, wasted or not really utilized properly. If you divide it and fragment it in such a smaller fragments, we have to create the right climax for this. And the actual idea is so good that you have a lot of meat on your bones here to work with. So what about if I give you the money, but to collaborate with a 1-hour show?
Rather now you have a different type of control, the good one.
Exactly.
I want more.
Exactly. So then suddenly we went from a tiny idea of 7 minutes per episode to now a full-blown 1-hour episode, which creates an entirely different scenario. Business-wise, production-wise, creation-wise, and everything changes, you know. Wow. And that's how we went from an idea of new media web series to a full-blown 1-hour episode,
Yes.
full season, basically.
But it's so amazing. I'm glad you did. Whoever was telling you to make it longer, I will support them. You know?
When you do the right things and you put all the good energy, you attract people with the same type of
Yes.
thoughts and the same
Yes.
type of energy. And when you think of that idea and that comment, they were absolutely right. It would have been a waste, to really to place this idea and what we had in mind into something that wasn't going to be as visible with this reaches more people in different ways than a web series would. And definitely that is our main purpose.
Yeah, and I would like to have your opinion on the production budget, because we know that when we producing movies in the big studios, there's a gigantic budget, but people like you guys creating independent movie, there is not as gigantic budget, but almost the same quality.
And I will give you an example of something that most people know because it happened a few years ago with a movie that was made with only, if believe it or not, with $6,000. And that was Mariachi. And that movie was made by Robert Rodriguez. And he made that movie with $6,000, meaning he didn't pay anybody. He just used friends. He wrote it himself. He did the camera himself. I mean, it was basically almost like a one-person show, basically.
But see, it's good to talk about it, yeah.
And what happened? The movie became a success. The movie made millions, having costed only thousands of dollars. And from that movie, then came Desperado. And it was Antonio Banderas and Salma Hayek. And then the little $6,000 budget, when the studio saw what this guy could do with that, they said, what would you do if we give you then $1 million or $2 million? And he said, well, try me then, throw in whatever you want. And they actually gave him enough money for him to get Antonio Banderas, who at the time was like the hottest, Latin artist, Salma Hayek, the most beautiful, sexy one, and create a movie that was just incredible with a much lower budget than even the other movies that were like $100, $200 million worth, So it's all about creativity and how you utilize your creativity and the technique that you put on your I have no idea. And we've become quite crafty, stretching the dollars to levels of rubber band,
Right. Talking about your attorney role in Sangre Negra.
Ricky, you don't have to say anything else.
What the hell are you doing here?
I'm here representing Mr. Santos.
You got to be shitting me. This guy is guilty. You was with the girl last night. You saw
Christian,
this.
you don't know that. You have to prove it
There's
first.
DNA evidence all over. What are
He
you doing?
is innocent until proven guilty.
Please don't do this, okay? We got him right now, okay?
Christian, I'm doing my job and you're doing your job.
That is your job, just like my job is defending him. So Tony's, I need some private time with my client.
You did amazing. And one of my favorite scenes is in the courthouse.
Guard. Today. So, Counselor, can you give me one reason why I should grant your client, who has been arrested, let me see, at least 23 times?
That's exactly the point, Your Honor. Arrested, but he's never been convicted. Every time Mr. Santos has been granted bail, he's shown up in court and has been exonerated. It's obvious that for some bizarre reason, LAPD has it in for my client. And frankly, this is just another example of their relentless railroading. I submit that this case should be dismissed based on its obvious lack of merit.
Así que Rebecca es tu consejera adjunta. And Salvatini is paying for it?
Así es, papá.
It's great. Which one was one of your favorite scenes or moments? That one.
Definitely that. Because in that one I get to not only work with my two friends. My two brothers are like my two brothers. They're like my two very good friends, you know. But I also get to work with the judge. That judge is an incredible actor. And the way the scene was written, you know, that ping pong, that scenario between the judge and me, and then my brother this way, and then the other one this way.
Yeah, I see here that the arresting officer is a Mr. Christian Santos. Would you identify yourself, Mr. Santos?
Yes, I'm here, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Santos. You may be seated. Counselor, this is your brother, is he not?
Yes, he is.
And the defendant is your brother as well?
Yes.
It's just that, I don't know, but I really love that scene.
Yeah, I think the court scene is one of those iconic moments, you know, or like we have the scene where Antonio is being arrested by Danny, which I'm using real names right now.
I love that scene. Danny was great. Tony was great, but Danny was great. I mean, his sarcasm and the way he did it was just perfect.
You're under arrest for murder.
You gotta be kidding.
Does it look like I'm kidding you?
You're making a mistake as usual, Christian.
I hear they like to call you pretty. They like pretty people in prison. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in the court of law.
Beautiful.
It's just perfect.
When he was talking French to the girl, basically, in French. That was awesome.
And the facial expressions, you know, her facial expressions. So it's a great movie, guys. You can find it on Tubi. There was one question that I asked Antonio. The question was, we exist, we put our heart into Los Angeles, the city of angels. And every one of us had some kind of an angel that took us under the wing. Who was your angel?
Here in Los Angeles, I would definitely say, this is interesting. I besides going to Lee Strasberg Actors Studio, I was very hungry to learn and to learn more. So I decided to also take another course outside of Lee Strasberg into another school that was called the Actors Edge. And that school was owned by a person called Cristina Ferra, a former child celebrity, a very, very nice, beautiful lady, inside and out. And when I started pretty much going through the course that she was giving, she was very fond of me and my craft and my capacity, and she basically took me under her wing, and she did something that apparently may not be that meaningful, but when I really realized it, everything that has happened in LA for me has happened because of that call. She made a call to a person that was connected to different agencies. And she said to this person, I have a student here that is actually a professional actor. He's worked for many years in South America. I forgot to mention, I also worked in Europe and Spain and in Italy before going to Mexico. And she knew all this. And she said, this guy is very good, and I want to see if you're able to actually send his pictures and his resume to any agents or managers or anybody who you think he would be the right fit for him, because this person deserves a push, and I think that you could be the right person. That call made all the difference.
Oh, wow.
That call, then she put in this person's hands a bunch of, she asked me, can you give me like a box of headshots and resume? I gave her like 100. Here. Spread them all over the city, please, all over. And so she did. She gave it to these guys, and this guy apparently was very crafty and knew many people. And next thing I know, Warner Brothers was calling me from the Latin department. And a person who was a manager of that department called Heidi Rothbard basically said, we got your picture, and we think we're very interested in interviewing you. I'm going to explain to you what we do. Warner Brothers has an idea of creating a department, the department of what they call a crossover market talent, mainly with Hispanic actors from all over the world in the Hispanic community. Rather than us going to agencies or other places to look for actors, we want to have a pool of our own actors here. And this person and me, meaning Heidi Rothbard, is representing the group, and I want to interview you, she said to me, and I'm like, okay. I was here for just a few months. No, I was here for a year almost. After I had been doing the course of Lee Strasberg and with Cristina Ferra, and then I have this appointment to meet this person, and I go straight into the Warner Brothers lot, and I'm like, whoa, okay.
Yeah.
I'm here. I go into the main building where the executives are, and I go immediately into this beautiful office, and I had the best interview of the world, and she started representing me as a manager. And that was the beginning of my career here in LA.
That's amazing. Whoa, that's another great story. Wow.
That's what happened.
So that was your angel.
That was my angel, and I have to say she never imagined that phone call she was making was going to go so far.
Yeah.
And that phone call has created, work in tons of productions as a producer and as an actor for me after that.
And I'm pretty sure that you go the extra mile to do things for others.
Well, I don't believe in clocking the time, because clocking time limits your creativity. When I was actually producing the show that I was telling you, the Jerry Springer Spanish version of it, I was doing that for a national TV network.
Yeah.
And I was supposed to be there from 9 to 5. That's it. Because I didn't even have a time restriction, because I wasn't getting paid per hour. I had a salary,
Right.
Whether I worked 1 hour, they would pay me the same, or whether I worked 10 hours. But guess what? I was ending up working not every day, But 6 days a week, I worked from 8 in the morning until 3 in the morning.
Oh.
And I would sleep 3-4 hours, get up and go again.
Yeah.
And I did that for a whole year. And that's how I go the extra mile, because they didn't tell me that I had to do it. I just wanted to get more and more and more work done, since I know that work piles up very fast. When you do that, I could not allow that to happen. Nobody was after me. Nobody was telling me what to do, but I knew my own responsibility. So in order for me to really achieve and to be at the level of my responsibility, I had to basically forget the clock. I just went into the office whenever I needed, and whenever finished, I walked out. Only when I finished. And sometimes I would look at the clock. I've been here for 13 hours.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you lose the track of time.
I've been here for
I can
13
relate
hours. You know?
Yeah.
So that's when you're doing something that you really like. Not only time flies, but it doesn't feel like a burden. Because I was producing, I was correcting, I was in the editing room. I was basically putting the package together. I was talking to the actors. I was talking to the writers. I was basically boom, 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 running around. I think I was actually thinner just running around than doing a diet or going to the gym.
Oh, totally. Yes.
Running around that I was doing.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't the type that was just calling people. I would just go to the office and do this and do that. And then, what are you doing here? And I would go to another office, and I would be all day long like that, basically looking over. Because as a general producer, the owner of the actual company was the person that I talked to. That was it. I talked to the very owner of the company.
Mm-hmm.
And he said to me, your job is to be responsible
And get it
for
done.
everybody's mistakes.
Oh,
So
yeah.
everybody's mistakes is your mistake. So you have to be on the lookout for everything at any time with everybody.
Yeah.
I was like, understood.